Okay, we'll get going here. So welcome to the latest on DryLINK. We're going to review asset tracking and remote monitoring. We may have people on for both items. I'm sure we will. So I do have a short poll to try and guide the discussion depending on what people are most interested in. Um, okay, about me, I'm Erin Hynum. I've been with Phoenix. I've been with Thermostor for 14 years and Phoenix most of that time. And, DryLink has been a passion. I'm getting really excited about it because I've been working on this for a number of years and the product has really just come a long ways. There's some fantastic features I want to show you. And I'm also just really excited for the future as well. And, this industry is changing a lot and staying on top of what's going on with technology, I think is pretty important. And when you're looking into technology and what you want to do in terms of asset tracking or remote monitoring, just keep in mind, Phoenix being an equipment manufacturer, we're a trusted brand in this industry. We've been here a long time. We will be here in the future. And, we're the company that can build this technology right into the equipment, which is what we're doing. Now, before I get started, I just wanted to say that there's a lot of material to cover, and I'll try and go as slowly, but try and cover as much as I can. Please feel free to ask questions as we go along in the chat. And Dave from our marketing department is with me, and he will know when to interject those questions, and I'll answer them as we go along. Also, Dave has put into the chat some links that have to do with DryLink in case you're interested, where to get more information, where to sign up, where to get the app, things like that. Okay, so I like to start with just a basic about what the DryLink ecosystem is. This is a Bluetooth-based job site data collection tool with optional remote monitoring, so you don't have to use remote monitoring to get started. We do have a drying report. There's a web portal as part of this, and we have a complete asset tracking system as well. Okay, so here's what the agenda is going to be for today. First, I'm going to do a quick poll, which I'm going to put up as soon as I read this, which is what are you most interested in for today so I can, tailor the presentation. Then we're going to do a DryLink overview of remote monitoring and asset tracking. I'll cover problems DryLink is solving, talk about all of our integrations, including our latest ones and what's coming up in the future. I want to do a live demonstration of some of asset tracking and remote monitoring so you can see it live. And a big one, I want to talk about the future so that you can get a sense of where we're going with DryLink and what's going to be coming, in the near future. I do have a few more polls that I might do, interested in what, job management software and mitigation software you're using. I want to show you our new pricing, and then we'll discuss where and how to buy that. And we're also going to have a Q&A at the end. So I'm going to put this first poll up here, which is going to be what are you most interested in today? Looks like that poll was already open. So it looks like most people, I'm just going to stop this here. It looks like most people are interested in both. So that's great. So I'm going to end that poll. Thank you for your participation in that. Okay. Now, this is just a brief introduction of what the system is in case somebody's brand new to it. This is just the remote monitoring diagram. It also shows the job site data collection. The first phone in the middle is your technician's phone with our app, and it just shows all the devices reporting in. So you can see we have the new DryMax XL Pro up here. We have the DryTag. This is an asset tracking beacon. We also have the DryTag AM, which means asset manager. The difference is the DryTag has an accelerometer, so it can tell you if equipment is on or off and how long it's been running. You can put these tags on anybody's equipment. We build it into our own equipment. You can see an AirMax with this built in. Very handy feature when you're buying smart equipment because when you pull the battery tab, it already knows what it is and loads into your app. Here you see you can put this on anybody's equipment. This down here is the dry phone. This is how you do your remote monitoring. I had a question from somebody that signed up about Do I need one for each job? What if I have a large job? And I will talk about that in more detail, but the short answer is if you want to remote monitor a job, you need a dry phone. And the short answer to a large job, at least today, is you need potentially multiple dry phones. And I'll talk about that more as we move along here. Here we have the DryMax BLE, another smart enabled dehumidifier from Phoenix. And here we have the DryTag RH. This is an asset tracking beacon with temperature and relative humidity built in. It can do readings for affected area, unaffected area, and HVAC. You can see that you can also attach this DryTag RH permanently on the inlet, or I mean the outlet, but on the inside of the outlet grill. And then you associate it in the app. And once you've done that, it'll stream your outlet conditions, and we use the affected area as the inlet conditions. This is our moisture content sensor. This is an important one with remote monitoring. I think this will become more and more important as time goes on. And this is our drying report. So that's a short look at connected equipment and remote monitoring.
Before
Asset
we move
tracking
on,
looks,
Erin, we do have two questions.
sure, happy to answer.
So, first question, will we have any reading materials available to us for this webinar?
I don't have any reading materials exactly, but what I do have is a link in the chat to our web portal that has tons of material and plenty of reading there. So they could go there for information.
Perfect. Next question. So Canadian customer here, we're looking at dry phone, but apparently there is some issues with the data portion once it crosses the border. Does the dry phone do anything different than a normal cell phone that would improve data connectivity? We currently use low-end LTE tablets and struggle with connectivity.
Yeah, so the here's the answer to that. For whoops, for well, let me go to this slide. For asset tracking, you can see our gateway down here. Starting at the end of August, all of our gateways are going to be enabled with a worldwide SIM card. Now, the only countries that we have it activated in right now are going to be the US and Canada. We have to negotiate rates with any other countries. I think we had somebody, maybe a couple of people from maybe Australia or New Zealand signed up. Right now, this is active in US and Canada. And so that is the good thing for Canada. We will be able to do asset tracking. The not good for right now is this dry phone currently only works in the US. We are working on getting that same situation with the SIM card we have in our gateways and figuring out how to do that for remote monitoring, but we don't have it today. I just want to be clear for any Canadian customers. You can use your own device in Canada. It does require a little bit more effort, and our sales team can help you out there. Okay, moving on to just a quick overview of Asset Manager. These are the devices that you need to have on everything you're tracking. Most likely a dry tag. Now, it could be dry tag AM, the Asset Manager only, or dry tag RH. One of these two has to be on your equipment or you're not tracking it. Over here, these are things we're receiving it with. You know, your app can receive the signals, DryPhone can receive the signals, but mainly the gateway is going to receive signals. And I'll go into more detail, but every vehicle you transmit equipment needs to have a gateway or it won't show up properly in the system. It'll show as missing when there's no gateway reading it. So I just want to be clear. And this is a basic diagram showing that you can have equipment in any of these areas and it can be tracked. And we use the address of the job to create geofences. And with job site integrations that we have with job management platforms, we can totally automate your asset tracking so that the jobs automatically import into DryLink. We auto create the geofences and we automatically put the equipment on the job. Now that's if you're not using DryLink to do your jobs. That's just for standalone asset tracking. Okay, now this is a big one I wanted to talk about coming very soon. We are partnering to add front and rear facing cameras and also the vehicle data that comes out of the ODB port. This should be available in the very near future. You can reduce insurance premiums and accidents, protect your business against frivolous lawsuits, keep employees safe, and it's a virtual eyewitness everywhere. So that's something exciting coming soon. And I also just wanted to show you our integrations as of today. We have many others that we're talking to. We have Encircle, Restoration Manager, Exact Analysis. We have a partnership with Contractor Connection. We have an integration into the app with the E3 drying system from Chuck DeWald. And we're in beta testing with Servpro and PSA. So I see that someone's raised their hand and maybe has a question. If you could put that in the chat, then Dave can read that to me. And Dave, was there a question there? It looks like a couple people raised their hands. If you could just put the information in the chat here, then Dave can read that to me.
Yes, correct. Yeah, everyone that has their hands raised, if you want to throw that in the chat, I'll be able to read it and we'll get it answered.
Okay. So, and while we're here, I'm going to do another poll. I want to, this time, let's see, where is my poll? Just one second here. Let's see, share results. Okay. Apologize here, I'm a little bit new to doing polls and I don't know how to get to my next one. Okay, well, we're going to move along. I was interested in knowing what people's job management platforms were, and I'll see if I can get the polls, how to get on to the next poll. Okay. So now I just wanted to talk about problems we're solving. Um, Finding skilled labor. Remote monitoring is going to allow you to do either, more jobs with the same people or the same jobs with less people. There's just so much less windshield time. People can be redeployed. Uh, the time it takes to get paid and reduced invoices. We have contractors coming back to us all the time telling us, I can't guarantee what's going to happen, but they're saying that, they're not allowing the invoices to get reduced and they're getting paid more quickly due to all the data that they have and the fact that the information is coming from sensors. This one here, not billing for all equipment on the job. I can tell you that what happens is with asset tracking, we know exactly what you have in the job. And I can tell you that a lot of times the technician may forget to write down all the equipment that they put on the job. And asset tracking will help you so that you don't, so that you do receive the money for everything that was on the job because you bill for it. Not using the correct amount of equipment on the job. Not only do we have IACRC equipment recommendations, but we give you feedback while you're adding it. So if you need 300 pints and you put an 80 pint on there, we're going to tell you you need 240 more because we know what's happening in real time rather than just a recommendation. Lost equipment, obviously asset tracking is doing that. Not knowing where equipment is located, again, tied into asset tracking. And the integrations help so that you don't have to do the double entry of data. So this is some of the problems that we're solving. So I just wanted to show you, and I am going to do a demonstration here, but this is just a nice job. This was just a test job, but you can see these are the affected area readings of 4 chambers. And this is what the drying data can look like on the web portal so that you can check into your jobs and see how they're going. This is an example of what a dehumidifier looks like, and with all the different readings on there. You can see this was a DryMax XL giving all the readings. Wherever you see a dot is where somebody took an actual reading. And so just so it's clear, we give all the information to the contractor. The contractor decides what information goes on the drying report, and that information is all these dots. Now we were doing a test, so there's a lot of readings on here. Okay, so now I want to go to the web portal and give you a demonstration. It looks like I still have a few hands raised. If you could ask the questions in the chat, and that way Dave can read them to me, that would be the best way to ask questions.
Just to clarify, put the questions in the Q&A section, not the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have Sorry about that. Hopefully everybody's got that. Okay, now what I want to do here is start off by looking at the job section of the web portal. So this is, now I'm in what's called our staging part of the web portal. So I'm going to show you some of our newer things, but the main web portal looks very similar to this. I just wanted to show the latest things we're working on. And one of those things that we're working on is, first of all, by default, we show all the active jobs. So they're all over here. And this is, I use companies that have given us permission to do this. This company has 28 jobs going on. If I click on any one of these, it's going to highlight the actual icon over here, and I can see the start date and which job it is. So that's kind of what you have over here. If I switch to the drying data view, now this is a brand new job, so there isn't any data. But if I scroll down here a little bit, let's just take a look at this job. Okay, you can see, it looks like they put equipment on the job. They didn't really turn them on until here. Here was the first reading, and you can see that as expected, the grains per pound went down. So you can flip through your jobs just by clicking on them and seeing what's going on. Now, I also want to go into the job itself and show you some things here.
Real quick, Aaron,
So,
before we move on, we do
oh,
have a
yep.
question. How are you giving recommendations on equipment needed?
Okay, so we're giving the equipment the recommendations based on this is the IICRC simple equipment formula. So we need the rooms and dimensions um, filled out, and then with that information, we give the recommendations. So that's how that's done. It's all in the app or on the web portal. And I'll show you on this job, like if I go, well, I'm going to start with the job overview, but I will get to the rooms and dimensions. So on this job overview, something I wanted to show you that we're adding a new feature, which is I can change my start date and time. Now I can't, if I have readings, then I can't like make the start date after my first reading. It'll tell you that you got to delete the reading first. But you can change your start date and time. That's a new feature that we added. You can see that you select in the beginning if you're using IICRC equipment recommendations. This company's not. And then you can see that, here's where I can complete the job once I'm done. And if I click on report, it's going to give me the option to view the report. I can just copy a link or email it to someone. And this report is a web link. So I'll open it up just to show you what this looks like. So here's this report. It just has some data on it. And that's what you would send if you sent that report. Now, if you go up, if you print the report, once you want, then you can get a PDF of it. But this is, and I would do that by viewing the report. I should have showed you that when I was here. And then I could click full report and you can see it's going to make a PDF. So you can send the link or you can send a PDF depending on what you want to do.
We do have two other questions, Aaron.
Yep.
So, is there remote monitoring available in New Zealand?
Not yet because we don't have a SIM card that is working in New Zealand. We do have this in our asset tracking, we have the worldwide SIM card that we could turn on for another country. We don't have it active yet, but we will. We're working towards it, I guess is the short answer. But we don't have it today.
And
Okay.
then
Oh, you have
just
another one?
yeah, just one more. Is it pulling job information from Encircle or do we have to enter duplicates?
Yeah. So within Circle, we have an integration where it can pull the job information automatically. So I'll show you a little bit later how you sign up for an integration. But that we're going to keep working on integrations and getting, improving them and getting as many companies as we can integrated. And by the way, before you sign up for an integration, make sure you understand what the integration means. Sometimes people think it means one thing and then they find out it's another. So it's check with Phoenix if you want to make sure what the integration will do.
We have one more question here too.
Okay.
What are the exmatic codes for remote monitoring?
Oh, Xactimate codes.
Xactimate, sorry.
So I have those not at my fingertips, but it's like WTRRM. I think is one of them. So there's like a $55 a day code for remote monitoring, and it's either $3 or $5 a day for additional sensors beyond 10, and I think it's $30 a day for an additional gateway. That'd be if you needed more than one dry phone. So those codes are already in existence. We do have them on our webpage. I think they're like WTRRM or something like that. Okay. So now I'm moving down to, so this was just when you go into a job, this is job overview. By default, we just kind of leave it collapsed because, normally you don't need to look at the address and stuff, but you can click here to open it up. Now we have chambers, equipment, and drying data. So I'm in the chambers tab, and I'm just going to show you this company. This job has two chambers. Now they're not using DryLINK jobs. They're just, at least in this situation, this company isn't. They haven't filled out the floors, walls, and ceiling. They are using category and class, but they haven't filled out the dimensions. And you can see you can actually add rooms and add chambers right on the web portal. So you don't have to do it in the app, but obviously it's probably done in the app more often than not. So that's what the chambers look like. If I go to the equipment view, you're going to see here's all the equipment so this is the basement, and here's all the equipment. Now you can see there was a dry tag RH, somebody took it off of here, but another thing we're adding is this feature, manage a signing period. So if somebody makes a mistake when they put it on or took it off the job, you can go in here. Now this looks like it was taken off almost immediately. They probably could have just removed it from the job. Now another thing you can do is if you did need to remove equipment, you can do it here. If I click on some things, I could hit remove from the job. Now I'm not going to do that for them, but you can do that. You can change the assignment period here for when it was put on the job. So these are all things you can do in the equipment tab, and I'll show you another place where you can do that in a little bit here. Now, if I move on to the drying data tab, this is interesting. So these are all my affected areas. We saw this on the first screen when we were looking at all the icons on the map. And here's all the readings. You can see that, as soon as they turned the equipment on, it took a reading and started drying out dropping the GPP. Also, we have the history of the outside and unaffected area. We have chamber moisture readings. Now, I don't know if they have any on here. So they just have one. So they've only taken one reading, so we don't really have a graph, but you can see it's saturated. That's the kitchen floor. Looks like it's tile. And then we have the chamber air readings. Let's see let me find a piece of equipment. We'll look at this D. So this is a dehumidifier with a dry tag RH on it. And you can see it started out, the outlet grains were very high. And then it came down and now it's much drier. So this is all the information that the contractor has at their disposal. Now I want to show you something else. Not only can I just add a visit, remotely if I'm remote monitoring, but I'll go back to drying data. I can schedule visits. This is kind of a cool feature. What you can do is you can tell the system, if you're doing remote monitoring, hey, just put on my drying report the conditions at 10:24 a.m. every day as long as this job is enabled. And you can add multiple to this. So you can actually schedule your visits. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of the Jobs tab. Now I'm going to move into the Equipment tab. The Equipment tab has some extra functionality when you have remote monitoring going on. Now you can see as I mentioned, I'm in our development site. It doesn't normally, there's a few things that look a little funny here, but I did want to show you a few things in here. So when you do asset tracking, you get this status column. You get a few extra columns that tell you what's going on. But in either case, if I want to, I can select equipment and then I can click assign. Now it's saying, is this the stuff you want? It's all available, so I could put it on a job. If I go to next, it's going to say, what time do you want to assign it? And then what job? I can pick whatever job I want. I can pick the chamber. I can pick the room. So you can assign equipment from here. This is just another way to do it. So let's say technician came back, set up the job, but didn't actually put everything on there maybe you looked at your asset tracking and you're like, hey, he didn't put everything on the job that I know is there. So you can add it here. You can, there's some other functionality involved here where you can, manage labels. This is where you can tell the system when you change the battery. You can put equipment in and out of service using this. Now, if I click that, you'll see that you can put it in maintenance or lost. So those are things you can do in this equipment page. Now, in this equipment page, we have some nice features that when you're doing asset tracking are quite handy. You can see this company's got quite a bit of equipment. I can hit export to CSV. By the way, you see I have three things selected over here. I'm just going to clear that filter. And when you search for stuff, if you have like thousands of items, let's say I pick this one and now I want to search for something else, but now it doesn't show, but it's still selected. It'll remember what you selected even when you don't see it while you're searching through so many items. We have this manage columns feature. So each person can set up their own individual view. So you can, let's say you don't care about serial number, you just turn it off. Or let's say the labels are super important, so you want to put it up at the front. You can organize this however you want, and your browser will remember the history on that. Okay. So this, like I said, is a list of all of the assets in the company. Even untagged assets will show up here. And so now I want to move over to the asset manager side of things, and I want to show you what that looks like. And so I'm going to look at the tagged assets here. That's the tab that we're using. So this gives you our map view. And sorry, it runs a little slow when I'm streaming and also on the development side. So hopefully this will load up quick. It's normally does not take that long. I have the regular site pulled up just in case we need it. Okay, so for some reason they have a truck that's way over here. But at any rate, let's see. Oh, I'm going to go to a different tab because this company here has a lot of trucks that are in the field. So I kind of like to show this. So here's these trucks. Now, what I want to show you is that in this map view, so we're looking at vehicles and facilities and available equipment. So I don't have jobs as part of this yet. I just want to show you the vehicles. Now on the left-hand side here, these are called cards. Cards are the locations. And we keep vehicles. See, this vehicle has no equipment on it because there's no tab here, but we still want to know where it is, so we keep it on the map. So if I look at this V16 ProMaster, I click on it, you can see it tells me where it is, tells me how many dehumidifiers are on it, air movers, air scrubbers, things like that. If I click on the home office, here's their home office. Here's all the equipment that we have here. So you can quickly jump around. And I wanted to point this out, this service center. So this service center, you can enter, so they use John Don in Atlanta, and they have some equipment in for service. And what we do is when you go into the geofence of a service center, we automatically move that equipment to in maintenance so it doesn't show as available for you. So that's a nice feature that we've added there. So another kind of cool feature is right now I'm looking at all of the items on a map, and I might want to look at the satellite view, or I might want to look at the map view that might, make it a little more clear of where everything is. And by the way, I can lock my map so that it doesn't try and resize itself, or I can turn that off. Now I'm going to go back to the satellite view. Did you have a question, Dave? Oh, thought I heard him. Okay,
Oh,
so you
nope.
can,
Yeah, we're good. Nope.
okay, now you can also look at these individually, which is kind of cool. I like using satellite for this. So if I say, hey, where's that V16? Boom, it's right there. Where's the V14? And it just zooms in. So it's kind of cool. And you really can see like, okay, I can see exactly where this guy is. If you switch to map view, it'll give you like the house number and the street number and all that. So there's quite a bit of information here that you get from this. Now, I want to show you another view, which is called table view. So you can see that up here. When I click on table view, what you're going to see is Now we're going to use Xactimate categories, and we're going to show you precisely, uh, like, well, actually, they don't have, let me put the on the job equipment as well. Get a little more equipment. Oh, I see. I only have, let me select all of them. Okay, there we go. Now we got all the columns. Now I can look for large dehumidifiers, XL, XXL, desiccant. I can look for exactly what equipment I need and where it is in my system. So that's what map view is for, or I mean table view is for. Now I'm going to go back to map view, and I just want to show you a few other things too. So now I've added jobs into the equation. You can see now we have more information over here. So we can click on this job. I don't know why they got one air mover, but they do. Let's see what we got here. Two air movers. That's kind of odd that they only have that. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe they need to go pick up some air movers. But at any rate, this is now we've added jobs into the equation. And if you see a job that's grayed out, that means somebody's closed the job, and you for sure should get any equipment that's there. So that's what that's for. Then I want to show you the search. You can search by location. You can search by, okay, so we have a thing called labels. And labels is a feature where you can put as many labels as you want on different pieces of equipment. But like, let's say you rented some equipment or lent it to another franchise or another restorer that you're partners with, and you want to make sure you get it back. So you could add a label that says, lent to Joe, and then it'll keep track of that in the system. And then when Joe tells you he gave you all his equipment back, you can go in here and click the rent to Joe label, and it'll show you all the equipment. And if anything is not on in the system, you can get back to Joe and say, hey, I gave you all that equipment, but two of these pieces are not back in my system, so I didn't get them back. I don't know where they are. You can also use it if you had multiple warehouses and you wanted to sort that way. You could put, this is my Atlanta warehouse, this is my Norcross warehouse, or whatever, and you could sort equipment by using the labels. So that's what the labels are for. You can also search for any individual piece of equipment, and you can see it'll select everything once you do that. So if I want to know where 3082 Air Max is, it is right here. It's on a vehicle in a neighborhood. So that's another way that you can search for equipment. So let's see. Then I want to show you the vehicle history. This is a cool feature that we've added. And what you can do with this, I don't want to use this truck because I know this truck mainly is not out in the field. But let me go back to one of these ProMasters. And let's go backwards in time as soon as this loads up. Well, actually, this is pretty good. So this is today. And so what you can see is, and I can zoom in on this, we have a field up here, extended truck stop, greater than how many minutes? So somebody's put in here 15 minutes. So that means that anywhere you see a red, here it's right at a job. So this makes sense. So they stopped at the job from 9:20 to 9:53. And if you want to know what job, you can click on the job. It's that job. And over here, you can see they stopped again from 9:56 to 10:33. And you can zoom in and see where did they stop. So they were right here. I'm not sure what they're doing there, but anyway, the point is that you have this vehicle history, and you can go back in time, and the stop signs will point out where the stops have been. How do I get, somehow I've selected them all. Okay. Anyway, I think you get the point there. That is the vehicle route history. You can select whatever date you want. Just to show you, I'll go back to Friday, August 2nd. Let it load up. And while it's loading up, I just want to let you know that we have a similar idea for assets. So that, yeah, so this is what that same truck did on August 2nd. And now I want to show you that you can go to any piece of equipment and see a similar type of thing, but you got to remember the truck is getting GPS every 30 seconds. The equipment is only scanned. The Bluetooth scan is not as often as that. I'm going to find one that's on a job just to show you what it looks like. So if I go into any one asset and I scroll down here, asset history, I'm going to get a similar thing, only we don't have all the same dots connecting it, but here it's on a job, here it's on a vehicle, here it's at the warehouse, and it tells you when. So right now it's currently on a job and it shows you it first scanned on that job at 4 p.m. Prior to that, it was probably on the truck. Yeah, so it was en route. So that's how the asset tracking portion of that works.
Real quick,
Now,
we do have a question.
yeah,
Do you use the dry phone to track the location of the truck?
no, the location of the truck is tracked by the gateway. And the gateway has a GPS antenna. By the way, if you're going to do asset tracking, please make sure we have a lot of documents that talk about how to do this, but you want to make sure that the gateway has to be installed correctly. We need the gateway on a switch circuit so that when you turn on the truck, the gateway turns on. When you turn it off, the gateway turns off. That's imperative. Also, you have to tag your equipment, and it takes time to tag your equipment. That's why we're selling it already included with the equipment for the future. But to get started, you're going to have to tag equipment, and it takes time to do that. Now, I just want to let everybody know we do have a third party that we've partnered with to do installations, and I can share pricing on it. But it's roughly like $180 for gateways and $5 a tag, and there's a trip fee, but I can go into more details than that. Just know there's a service available if it seems overwhelming to get it all set up, because it does take quite a bit to get this set up because you have to get everything tagged and the gateway is installed. But then it's fantastic.
We do have
Any other
one other
questions?
question.
Yep.
Actually, another question as well. So first question, can you explain exactly what the dry phone does?
So the dry phone is used for remote monitoring. So if you're doing job site, if you're using DryLINK on jobs and you want to see the data in real time back at your office, that's what the dry phone does. Um, you could use it during asset tracking, but all it's going to do is tell you that something keeps pinging in, and if it gets turned off, you can use it for that. But you don't need the dry phone for asset tracking.
And then does the gateway need to be connected to a live connection in the vehicle?
It needs to be into the fuse box, into the power. Yes, it needs to be wired into the fuse box so that when the switch is turned on, it's turned on. Don't put it in the cigarette lighter. Employees will use that, or well, I call it a cigarette lighter, power port, because it'll get unplugged and then nothing will work, and then you'll wonder why it's not working. So it really needs to get hardwired in the fuse box. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to cover all this material, but I'm just going to show you a couple of things. I want to get back to the presentation for a few things. You can see in here this is where you add your labels. You can add whatever you want. There's an integrations tab. This is the ones that we have right now where you can integrate. A subscriptions tab. This is where it's going to tell you what here's the pricing about your subscriptions and things like that. Here's where you enter your team on the web portal. You can see they've entered all their employees on here. Automations. This is so that if you're only doing asset tracking and you turn on automations, we'll automatically add equipment to job, remove it from a job. The only caveat I would say with that is if we have overlapping geofences, like two jobs right on top of each other, you can override it's not going to know what to do with it if the geofences overlap. You can go and put it on the right job, but it won't get it right with automation if the geofences overlap. And so with that, I want to move back to the presentation, just because, I want to be mindful of everybody's time here. I want to talk about the future, and I was hoping I could get this poll to come up, but I was having a little trouble to see if I can. I just want to know what's important to people. So I want to talk about remote monitoring 2.0. We're continuing to work on this system, and we are in development on a system that will really have a long range connection. We're going to keep Bluetooth. We're not moving away from Bluetooth because it's awesome. You open any employee's phone and all of our stuff just starts showing up on their phone. But we're going to add that long range connectivity so that with one gateway, you could do commercial work rather than having to have multiple dry phones. All Phoenix equipment is going to come with smart equipment, built in. So for example, air movers, uh, oh, thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. Um, Air movers are going to, come with the tags built in and even air scrubbers. This is an important one. This is why I say if you're looking to invest, think about who can do the best job here. And that would be, in my opinion, the equipment manufacturer, because we're going to make it so that the beacon has a rechargeable battery that's wired into the wiring harness. So it recharges when it's on a job and then it just pings when it's not plugged in. And that way you can not have to replace coin cell batteries every 3 years. And it's only the equipment manufacturer that can do something like that. We have a new mobile app that's going to come out probably Q1 or 2 of next year. It's going to add offline mode and step-by-step instructions for new technicians. So that's something we have. Managed by exception. This is a huge one where we're actually going to take all this data that we're monitoring remotely, and we're going to let you know about anything in that job that, needs attention. So that should be a big one. And let me just give an example. Let's say you have a moisture content sensor in a material and 2 days go by or whatever you set as a threshold and you're making no progress on drying it. Well, okay, somebody needs to go to the job and figure something out. Maybe you need to get a desiccant and tent or something like that. So we're going to keep track of things for you and we're going to try and keep all your jobs on track. And then we're going to add rental equipment. So right now, if you had to rent 200 air movers, it would be a little difficult to get that rented equipment into DryLINK. We're going to change that. We're going to make it easy to add rental equipment, whether you're renting smart equipment like a DryMax XL or any of our other ones, XL Pro, or whether you rent a non-smart dehumidifier. We're going to make a way for you to get that into the system quickly. Okay, so that's important. And since Dave put that poll up there, if you could just rank those, it'd be really interesting to know what you think is most important. And we like that feedback to figure out what to work on. Okay, now new pricing. We had to change the way we were doing our pricing, and all of the competitors in this space sell direct, and so we now offer a direct sale, but please keep in mind you can get the same pricing from your distributors still. And also, I need to say that if you're a Servpro franchisee, you must buy these devices from Servpro. We have an agreement with them, so if you buy it online, we're not going to be able to, help you out because contractually you have to buy it from your corporate offices. But don't worry, the pricing is going to be the same, or I think in some instances slightly better. Okay, so if you look here, DryTag AM, if you're only looking to do asset tracking, you can get them in bulk as low as $12. And by the way, we build this into our equipment. I don't have the equipment pricing up here, but I highly recommend if you're buying air movers or dehumidifiers and you want to do this stuff, look at our stuff because it's already built into the price. The DryTag we've lowered substantially, $24 retail, but 18 at volume. This is if you're going to do if you want to know if equipment is turned on or off, you're doing remote monitoring and you want to do billing where you show that the equipment was definitely on and where it's geolocated. That's a good one. DryTag RH, that's temperature and relative humidity plus asset tracking, 75 MSRP, 60 at 50 plus. Same thing with DrySense, that's moisture content sensing. We've lowered our gateway down to $299. If you're a big company, down to $279. Here's the monthly subscription for these gateways because you do have a cell charge here. So, it's either $20 or if you have more than 15 or more, it's $18 a gateway. So you want to calculate that when trying to figure this out. We have an antenna kit, which allows us to read entire semis packed full while they're going down the highway. I mean, it's a great system. It just adds a couple of antennas, and that's 150 bucks. Now I want to also show you this. This is what are our fees, and I highly recommend comparing this to anybody. If you're 0 to 1,000 assets, so that's even up to a mid-sized company. DryLink Jobs is only $49 a month, and that's for your whole company. And you can do as many jobs as you want. If you get Asset Manager, DryLink Jobs comes along with it for free. And we only charge 99 a month. That's our fee for providing all of this, all the web portal and all the things that we provide. We do have that partnership with E3. That's the Chuck DeWall Drying School, and you can see the pricing here. That's a $49. You can add this onto either one of these subscriptions, and then you can use the E3 methodology inside of DryLink. And you can see for the bigger companies what the pricing looks like. If you're 10,000 plus, that's a custom deal, and we talked to you about that. Okay. Let's see. So, where and how to buy DryLink devices. This is not equipment. Equipment only goes through distributors. But where do you buy these DryLink devices? You can buy them from your local distributor, so nothing's changed. You can buy them there. If you're a ServPro franchise, ServPro Corporate is the only place to buy it. And the Phoenix web shop and you can find it on our web portal. It just says shop on our web page, and it takes you to, basically a shopping area with a cart and all that. Okay, now getting started with DryLink. I just wanted to point this out. Asset tracking, both of these things, take a little time. So I would suggest you contact your Phoenix sales rep. The installation is just critical to the success. If you try to have automated asset tracking and your gateways aren't installed right, it will be a mess. So please don't do that. And understand all the requirements first before you order. So that's for asset tracking. Remote monitoring. We have a whole bunch of YouTube help videos on the Phoenix YouTube channel. And please understand what you need to buy, before you buy it, and talk to a Phoenix sales rep if you have any questions. Okay, and with that, I'm going to open it up for questions and comments. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to put this additional information up here in case you want to reach out to, I'm Erin Hynum, so you can reach out directly to me. Keith Hossley is our DryLink sales manager, or really any of the Phoenix sales team can help you out. So once again, Dave, I'm just going to check in to see if you had any questions. I was trying to see.
Yes,
That's questions and answers. Okay, so hopefully,
we
Dave,
do
you can read
have
that one.
two questions. First question, is the dry phone left on every site?
The dry phone is left on every site that you want to remote monitor. It doesn't need to be a part of asset tracking at all, unless you want to know if equipment is turned on or off. And if you're just using smart equipment and you like collecting the data when you're on the job site, you can use your technician's phone and you don't need the dry phone. The dry phone is only for real-time data back at the office.
And second question, do you have to use the dry phone? Can you collect data once you pick up the equipment?
Yes, you can collect data once you pick up the equipment. You can do that, and you can build your drying report after the fact. I don't really recommend it. I think you should either go to the job site every day or you should remote monitor, but it is technically possible, yes. Now, I do want to point out there's one device, and we are going to rectify this. The DryTag RH does not have onboard memory. So DryTag RH, that strategy will not work. You have to remote monitor to get all the data. With DryTag RH, if you show up at the job, you'll get the current information, and that's it.
All
Okay,
right,
any
sweet.
other questions, Dave?
Yeah, we got another one. How does the equipment get assigned to jobs? Does the locator warn you when a piece of equipment is within a geofence but not assigned?
So what happens is if you're doing asset tracking and you turn on automation, we're going to automatically assign it. So if it's in the geofence, Like, so what's going to happen is this. The truck goes into the geofence with a certain amount of equipment on it, and then it leaves with some other equipment on it. The difference, so if there's now something on the truck that was on the job, we'll pull it off the job. If there's now something missing from the truck, but it's still in the geofence, we'll put it on the job. So there won't be anything waiting to get assigned, and that's only if you're doing automation. If you're doing DryLink, you assign all the equipment in the app.
Right. Another question. I'm from Canada and have areas that do not have mobile coverage. Can this work with your system?
Yeah, so you can put the dry phone on Wi-Fi. So if you don't have cell, you can, assuming you can get Wi-Fi, but if you can, you can put the dry phone on Wi-Fi. Now, if you don't have any of those, you're not going to be able to remote monitor, but most of our equipment will data log, except for the dry tag RH will not data log if you're in that situation.
All right. So a couple other questions here. If a piece of equipment does not attach from automation and when everything is done correctly, what can be done to troubleshoot getting the piece of equipment on the job site?
So you can manually assign it to override it. So I was showing earlier how you can go into the equipment and just assign equipment to a job. So you can do it back at the office. So you can make it correct. The normal way something like that would happen is overlapping geofences. So the system, you got a job on floor one, you got a job on floor two. Like we can't tell the difference. So probably all the equipment's going to wind up on floor one, and you're going to have to go in there and say, no, it's really on floor two if that's a separate job. So that's how you handle that. We're working on strategies to try and sort that out, but that's how you handle it today. Now, if equipment just winds up randomly not in the right place, well, now we got a problem. We need to troubleshoot like what happened, because if it's pinging in, we should be locating it in the right place.
Right. Another question. What's the process like for the in-circle integration?
It's pretty straightforward. Basically, all you have to do is the initial handshake. So there, first of all, there's instruction. Let me show you on our website. Let me see here. I am going to navigate back here. And if you look, or not subscription, integrations, you see there's an eye here. So if I go to the in circle and click on this eye, it's going to open up a document and it's going to tell me how to do the installation. So it tells you what to do in Encircle, tells you what to do in DryLink. Basically, you're doing a handshake. You're basically saying, hey, what account is this in Encircle and what account is this in DryLink? And I want to link them together. And so that's basically how that process works. Well, let's see, where was I? Yeah, I was over here. So you would hit register. First, you'd get your instructions and you'd follow it. And at some point, you're gonna have to hit register and make the connection. Okay.
One more question. What does I'm sorry, does the report allow pictures and other information in the report?
So today the answer to that is no. We're looking to integrate with a floor planning and picture software company to bring you more functionality. I should have added that onto my future thing, but we are looking to add that. Today, you would need a supplemental report with your photos. But I will say that we should be reducing the need for photos, not in terms of document. Of course, you got to document, but if you're taking pictures of equipment to prove it was on the job, you shouldn't have to do that part anymore. I realize there's still photos though, obviously.
All
Any
right.
more questions?
Yes, a couple more here. What does the in-circle integration actually do? Does it populate DryLink or does it push the readings, etc., into in-circle?
Today, what it does is it pushes the job information into DryLink. Then you do the job in DryLink, and then there's a link inside of Encircle to the drying report, which is a DryLink drying report. So if you're so we've talked to Encircle about doing a deeper integration into Hydro, but that doesn't exist yet.
All right. Next question. Does DryLink integrate with sketches, chambers, entered into Encircle?
No, that would be again a deeper integration. We are looking at that with multiple companies. We're looking at, so here's the way I see it going down. If you get a sketch program with LiDAR that can give you those dimensions immediately, then they can go by an API, using the internet into our app. And so in DryLink, it would not only send the job, but it would send the rooms and chambers. Then you go into DryLink and you use the smart equipment to add the equipment to the job. And then we send the information back to the sketch program about exactly what equipment you put on that job and when and all that kind of information. So I think that's a future integration that I've talked to multiple companies about. It's a deeper integration, and we don't have that yet with anybody. I can tell you that's the company that we're integrating to do sketch and photos with. We will be that'll be one of the phases is getting that part of the integration.
All
Any more
right.
questions?
Yeah, one more here. If we input equipment into Encircle, would it show up on our DryLink or vice versa?
So we only have that functionality today with Restoration Manager. So your inventories would be separate in terms of DryLink and Encircle. It's again a great future one that we've already done. It's just Encircle would have to want to do that with us as well, but we can do it.
One more question. What company are you looking at introducing Sketch with?
I can't release that information yet, just because the official contracts aren't completely done, but I can tell you it's coming. Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I want to thank everybody that was on the call. Looks like everybody stuck around the whole time. I really appreciate that. I love all the questions. I'm just super excited about DryLink and where the technology is going in the industry in general. And just know that I feel strongly that if you're looking at remote monitoring and asset tracking, who else can build it into the equipment other than Phoenix or another equipment manufacturer? And I think we have a really nice program already. We're going to keep enhancing it. It's the future for us, and it's really going to be the future for the industry. So thank you everybody for your time. I really appreciate it. And thanks, Dave. Everybody have a good rest of your day.